We don't have too much time, but I want to talk about Bernie Sanders' speech last night. I got 3 clips of it, and one is well, let's play 2. Well, all right, let's play this. We're going to just play 1 right now, and then we'll play the others later. But there was basically 3 sections to his speech. One was talking about, sort of broadly speaking about the success that he had, but he talked about the success and it coming in some respects as a function of some very dramatic problems that we have in this country that seem to be ignored, but largely speaking from a policy standpoint. He then pivoted to say that the campaign is not just about addressing those concerns. The campaign is also about defeating Donald Trump. And then the third part was, and he's saying, but the campaign goes beyond the presidential election, that the campaign's also about this political revolution in our country, and then began to encourage people to run for office. Let's just play a clip from the second segment of this, and that is Sanders explaining why the campaign is more than about defeating Trump. This is number 2.
The major political task that together we face in the next 5 months is to make certain that Donald Trump is defeated and defeated badly. And I personally intend to begin my role in that process in a very short period of time. But defeating Donald Trump cannot be our only goal. We must continue our grassroots effort to create the America that we know we can become. And we must take that energy into the Democratic National Convention on July 25th in Philadelphia, where we will have more than 1,900 delegates.
Okay, so here he is. He is basically, he's not offering an endorsement yet. It is an implicit, I think a very clear but implicit concession. The race is over. He's quite clear on that. But yet the campaign continues. And give me your sense of this, because I have a very specific reaction to all of this. And I think what's happening is something that I don't know that we've seen really.
Yeah. Well, this is what I wanted, frankly. So, I would prefer it, I don't know if I say I would prefer it that he endorsed Hillary at this point. More important thing to me was the context of everything and making it clear for what was a great campaign and for Bernie's legions of followers that, switching over to Donald Trump, which I don't think many are going to do anyhow, but every individual is an individual, that's not an option. This guy, just because he tries to sound like a populist on trade and some other things, is not acceptable. And quite frankly, the last 2 weeks, where he's done everything but, including, or 3 weeks, going after a judge based upon his heritage to going after an entire religion, when we've got serious moments in this country, to every single thing that's come out about this guy, to all the casino workers and people that he screwed through his bankruptcies, to the emails, by the way, that he destroyed in his lawsuits, and every other just sleazy thing the guy's done, that he is not an option. And, I didn't expect Bernie to 100% embrace Hillary. And quite frankly, better that he doesn't, because there's still leverage that he push her in a leftward direction in a number of things. I'm fine with that. I just really want the party to come together in a basic sense and realize who it is that has to be defeated. And the thing is, last thing I'll say quickly, and I'll throw it to you, is that Trump doesn't just have to be defeated. He needs to be destroyed, because we cannot have fascism. It's fascism, pure and simple. An entire religion, we can sugarcoat it all we want if we'd like to do that. But this is textbook fascism. And that needs to be, that doesn't need to just lose, 52 to 48. That needs to lose 55 to 40 and nearly 400 electoral votes. That's what that needs to lose. It needs to be a battering. so
Oh,
that
yeah.
so that this
And-
doesn't raise its head in this country for a long time again.
And I would actually say not only that, I want to see that happen to the Republican Party too. Frankly, I mean, it's not just the fascism with me. It's also
Well, of course, and if it's the Republican Party, they
right,
may
it's all
lose a
the other
dozen Senate
policies that would
seats.
come with it.
They maybe lose
Right.
the House. They maybe lose a number of state legislatures around the country that are teetering on the edge of a couple seats here and there. Means that they don't have united government anymore, and they can't destroy their population by cutting, all the things they've done, from charter schools to wages to everything else. So, this does have it's not just about Hillary Clinton as president versus Donald Trump as president, as you're saying. It has an upbalance. And I know I live in a state where it's a classic swing state, and yet the right took over our state legislature. We've got a Republican governor, and they can march in lockstep right now, giving money to charter schools that have no oversight, taking away women's rights left and right, stopping wages from being raised, minimum wage, and other things that are hugely important as part of Bernie's movement. And so it's better for the people, who've gotten involved in that movement if we come together.
What's interesting to me, I think about this, and I was just saying before you came on that it's really just starting to dawn on me. I mean, here's the scenario, and this is all sort of somewhat hypothetical, but I think this is a sort of a fairly rational explanation of what we've seen. Bernie Sanders enters into this race, really rationally thinking this is going to be about creating a movement. That if I was to look myself in the mirror and say, what are the likely outcomes of this? The likely outcome is not going to be that I'm going to be the presidential nominee of the Democratic Party. You'd have to be a lunatic, really, frankly, to have assumed that from the beginning. And I don't think he's a lunatic. And so if and maybe during the course of this, at one point he said, you know what, I've got a chance to win this, which would also have been a very rational response for him to have. But now he's in the process where he clearly acknowledges that he's not going to win this.
Right.
There are certain facts that I think are fairly clear to me that he is aware of. A, he's not going to win this. B, his continued kinetic activity, if you will, is in no way a threat to Hillary Clinton beating Donald Trump. There is not a shred of evidence of it. She is up by double digits in the polls now. Donald Trump is losing by historical margins. That may change, but today, and I think it's safe to assume over the next couple of weeks, that's not going to change. And so from his perspective, there's no opportunity cost to the goal of defeating Trump by him maintaining this. By him not endorsing Hillary Clinton, he could think a number of things. One, I retain more credibility with my supporters to vote against Donald Trump by not explicitly endorsing her. Or B, he may think that my endorsement is sort of largely irrelevant one way or another. I've already made it clear we got to beat Donald Trump. But my continuing to sort of campaign to punch through the nomination, through the election, and actually project what I'm doing to have relevance 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years out, that it makes more sense for me to coalesce my supporters. And he's taking it even further by saying, I also want to know, not only do I want to coalesce my supporters, I want to know the ones who want to get actively involved in politics, on not just even an activist, like actually part of an apparatus. And so from his perspective, it makes total sense, because I'm not convinced that if he would have endorsed last night, it would have increased his leverage. I mean, I think he's gotten everything that he thinks he can, or everything that he wants from Clinton, that being essentially the platform battle that he was able to create,
right,
where you have, 5 people sitting at the platform table who would have never 5 people who would have never been represented there, views that wouldn't have been represented there. And I think that, like getting rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I think he's probably figured out at this point, because it seems like everybody else has, that the Clinton campaign wants, they have their own people for that too, that she's gone either way. And that the process.
I don't really think at this point anybody much likes Debbie Wasserman.
Right, exactly.
Schultz.
And I think from a process standpoint, he could say open primaries, but I'm not even sure that the Clinton campaign, that the National Party can do that. This is a state by state decision anyways. And so I think from his perspective, all this like talking about like, if he doesn't endorse now, why should she give me? I think he already went as far as he could go, as far as he thought he could go in terms of what he could get by endorsing or not endorsing or whatnot. And now what he's doing is not using the fact that he was an almost winning presidential nominee to get anything. He's now using the platform that he has built for himself and saying, I'm going to extend this further and going to use it to build a movement that is running parallel to this entire electoral process. Hello, you. I'm Sam Seder. Looking for smart progressive talk that is occasionally amusing? Well, subscribe to our YouTube feed. Subscribe to our podcast. Like us on Facebook. And just generally enjoy us.